Welcome to Talking About Sports, the Carolinas' #1 podcast for sports. We're here at the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill with an all-star panel as always. Back from an extended working excursion from the Independent Tribune, Mountaineer Mike Freer, United States Navy veteran, Arkansas Razorback William Wilson. A good weekend for sports coming up, Will, and Mountaineer Mike. We've got the Super Bowl. Mike, did we ever get your predictions? I got the Patriots. Will got the Rams. Did you ever weigh in on your predictions? Of course, you could say you got them both, and we wouldn't know.
I got last year right with the Eagles.
You did call that all the way.
I did call that, and I'm going to probably go with the Patriots.
You're going out on a limb. You got a 50-50 chance, right?
I do. It's not like the spread is a dozen points or anything. It's only a couple of points, so you can. I can see it.
What is the line? What is the line?
I believe the last I saw was about 2.5.
That's gonna be cool. Do you know the over and under?
So basically a push.
Yeah.
You know the over and under?
I don't know the over under yet, but it's gonna be high scoring though.
I think I think it's gonna be over 60. I think the game score will be over 60.
I could definitely see that, and if you're the Rams, that's what you want.
Will, you have a lot of friends in Los Angeles. You'd roll with the Hollywood set. Are you going with the Rams?
Well, I'm gonna go. Well, last year. I didn't have the Eagles all year, but when we got down to the Super Bowl predictions, I said Eagles can beat them because they can get out on them quick and they can score a lot of points fast, and that's exactly what they did. I think the Rams can do the exact same thing. I think the Rams have a better defense than the Eagles did last year. And Brady's a year older.
Yeah, but he's old. He's been old for a long time, but he's still good.
I said he's a year older. I didn't say he was old. I didn't say he was bad. I said he was older.
The owner, Robert Kraft, is talking about a contract extension for Tom Brady, despite his aging, as you're putting it, Will.
Well, I mean, considering the fact that the guy can go a whole season and may get hit twice in a year, he could probably give him a 10-year extension and still be able to play the thing out because he never gets hit.
I would give him an extension. Why would you not want him behind center until he can't do it?
It's not like he's at a Panthers organization that has really good players that still have a lot left in the tank. They just dump them off for no reason.
Yeah, we did get word after our last show that Cam Newton did undergo an arthroscopic shoulder procedure. He's pleasantly surprised with how after the procedure and the condition that he considers it in good condition.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching last week's show. The big question was always, and I chimed in during the show. It's like we haven't heard anything, so it's hard to have a feel and react and make decisions when you don't really know. And then, like you said, right afterwards was the news about it. And now let's see how long. It's even if he can come back, how is that shoulder going to be going forward?
Will, you just got back from Atlanta just an hour ago. Cam's hometown. He's addressed the media down there. What was kind of the vibe, and what's the feeling down in Atlanta right now?
I tell you, I've spent the last 24 hours literally surrounded by football players, past and present. Not one of them mentioned Cam's name. Not only did they not mention Cam's name, the only Carolina Panther I heard mentioned down when I was at the Super Bowl experience, the NFL experience. TD and Christian McCaffrey were there earlier. Doing interviews or whatever. Other than that, I literally never heard the Panthers even brought up.
I heard that Thomas Davis did an article I read that had mentioned that he wouldn't mind playing for the Falcons. Of course, he's a free agent and he's currently unemployed. You want to say, yeah, I'll play for anybody if you don't have a job and you want to keep playing. But he did mention that the Falcons were, his home state team. He wouldn't mind playing for them. Was there any buzz about that?
Like I said, no, they ain't talking about him all. Now I've heard a few people say he's interested in going to the Saints. I've heard a few people, make those statements. But I think at the end of the day, TD wants to be a Panther. He always wanted to be a Panther. He's been here. This is home, and this is football home. His family lives here. His family would continue to live here more than likely, no matter where he ended up playing. I think this is home. I think he wants to be a Panther. Maybe he can get us a
new Jeep over there. We both drive Jeeps. Maybe TD can get us a Jeep or something like that. I don't know.
I can just text Joe, and I don't need to go through TD.
I would think if you're Thomas Davis, you would want, if you're not going to be back with the Panthers, which unless something dramatic happens, he's not. You would want to go somewhere where you could play on a team, where you could get playing time and be on a team that can compete for the Super Bowl. And a team like the Saints, and even a team like the Falcons, as bad as it ended up last year, or this past season, excuse me, with a Thomas Davis on there, maybe he can be a difference maker in them getting back to the Super Bowl.
Will and I were talking to Muhsin Muhammad in the parking lot a couple weeks ago, and he was saying, currently that he's on the outside looking to go in a different direction, but if he goes through the process and he's not bowled over after the new year comes around by another team steps up with some dollars to his liking, maybe he's still around, and maybe he would accept maybe a veteran minimum plus incentives.
I mean, you never know. I mean, this is the NFL. Life has a way of slapping you in the face. Reality is undefeated. That's just the ugly. Sometimes people think they have.
I used to say Father Time, Gravity, and Celibacy were undefeated too.
It's a matter of finding a team that thinks you can still play too. Like he thinks he can probably still play.
Well, the team that thinks you can pay is willing to pay for what they think your play is worth. Because I don't think there's anybody in the league that doesn't think that TD can play. I'm pretty sure the Panthers believe TD can play, but are they willing to pay what they got to pay and risk losing Shaq Lawson? Is what you get from him worth what you risk losing for him?
Yeah, Shaq Thompson coming up for a contract extension. They want to pay him and a few other guys. I tell you who's maybe playing for some more money, Ndamukong Suh. And which Ndamukong Suh are we going to see? The midseason guy that maybe took a couple of games off, or the guy that has really come forward in the playoffs that you can't just say, well, we're going to double team Aaron Donald, because then Suh comes and beats you. And then they got some guys on the outside now that are stepping up for this, very underrated. Other than those two guys, that's a pretty solid defense for the Rams, Mike.
Well, what happens and it's funny, we were just talking about somebody I'll get to in a second. When you key on those guys, that usually opens a door for others on the other side to excel. That's their opportunity to really, if you're a good player, you can really step up your game and get a lot of numbers, whatever. We were talking before about Lawrence Taylor and how great a player he was. And he had Carl Banks on the other side when they played, who was a very good player.
Very good.
And he became even greater because all the attention was on LT.
Harry Carson,
and that cleared
in the middle,
up the spot for him to be really effective. That's what made the Giants such a great team and defense back then. But that's what you have when you have an Aaron Donald being as great and Suh being as great, is other guys are going to have that opportunity.
Leonard Marshall, Jim Burt, among other notables.
Absolutely. I would expect this to be, you work so hard to get here, and there's a lot of money that people are going to want to get paid soon. Aaron Donald, Suh, all these guys. This is your shot. If you're the Rams, this might be your shot to do. So I expect the defense to play their best game. Wade Phillips will have these guys ready to go. I don't know if it's going to work, but I think it's.
Well, Aaron Donald was the highest paid defensive player for one day until Khalil Mack got like a few more million. It's not a bad. I wouldn't mind being number 2 though for that kind of money.
Yeah, I could live being number 40. Those kind of checks, I could be number
100.
40. But at the end of the day, I think people aren't afraid of the Patriots like they used to. The Patriots' mystique isn't there anymore. Because the Patriots have lost about as many Super Bowls as they've won now. So when you really sit and look at it, these guys, it's like Tiger Woods in golf. These kids aren't scared of Tiger anymore. They used to be afraid of Tiger. People used to be afraid of the Patriots. They're not afraid of Patriots. The Giants beat them twice. The Eagles beat them. The Rams could very well beat them. It's not like they're invincible.
No, they're not invincible, but the thing is, they're back. They're always back. Everybody wants to criticize, and I'm not a New England fan. Trust me, as a Steeler fan, I do not. I've watched the Patriots give it to my Steelers 3 times during this run in the title game. It's not. The critics are, they play in a weak division. They play with the Bills, and they play with the Jets and Dolphins, and that's true. But the fact is, you still got to do it in the playoffs. And they still do it in the playoffs. They still go on the road and win in the playoffs. They still go to Kansas City and win. They still go to Pittsburgh and win.
Well, that's a whole lot easier to do when your guys are fresh, healthy, and not injured. When you guys aren't really, because they do play in a weak division. When they play, 6 of their 16 games are garbage.
But they play a tough schedule.
But you still have 10 more
division.
games to get through.
That works for the SEC. They don't necessarily always work.
You
for
still
the
have
Patriots
10 more
always.
games to get through,
right.
And you still have a tough schedule the rest of the way.
But it's not like they always play the second and third toughest division of football every year. Now, I'm not saying they don't play a good competition. I'm not saying that. And at the end of the day, you play to win the games. Like Herm Edwards said, they're playing to win the games. They're winning the games. They're doing what they have to do. And they may be back there again next year. But you know what? The Buffalo Bills showed up 4 years in a row and lost all 4 of them.
Well, that's true.
We don't know. And I was with Thurman Thomas last night. Literally.
Hall of Fame.
Him and Darryl Talley.
Oh, yeah.
We're sitting there talking
West
last
Virginia
night.
guy, isn't he?
Mountaineer.
Carroll Talley.
We're talking about the games of football and all this kind of stuff. But just 'cause they're showing up and winning. And at the end of the day, the Patriots could very well go to the next 3 Super Bowls and lose all 3 of them.
Or they could win
all 3 of them. It's really up and down. But I just think that walking in, the Patriots used to walk in and you just knew, okay, who the Patriots going to beat this year. They were just that mystique that walked in. You just knew you ain't going to beat them. But all great giants get knocked on their face. Mike Tyson got put on his face.
Buster
Michael
Douglas.
Jordan got put on his face. It just happens.
They end up winning more than they lose, though. And
You
that's
may
the
win more
thing.
than you lose, but at some point, if you keep winning enough, you can end up losing more than you win. Because the Bills didn't win more than they lost. They lost more than they won.
Well,
Vikings.
this team is on another level than the Bills.
That's right. But the thing is, we got to stop. This team may be on another level of the Bills, but this team isn't on necessarily another level than those Bills teams were back then.
I just think you hate the Patriots, Will.
I don't hate
They've surpassed.
No.
They've surpassed, like the Redskins. They've surpassed the Cowboys to the eyes of everybody out there.
They really haven't. Most people hate the Patriots, and I don't hate the Patriots. I'm indifferent to the Patriots. I just love reality, and the reality is they used to walk in, and you just knew the Patriots were going to win. You don't know the Patriots. Right now, we're going on reputation and all this. We're doing the same thing the NBA does when they draft people. They're going on, what's the word? Potential. They're going on potential and history and all this stuff. Potential and history is not playing that Sunday night. Players are playing Sunday night.
That
It's like
works.
players played last week. The Eagles, if we went by history and all this stuff, the Eagles should have got obliterated last year, and they didn't. And I'm not saying, and the Patriots could very well win this game. I'm just saying it's not a foregone conclusion because Tom Brady now isn't Tom Brady he was 5 years ago. Now, Tom Brady 5 years ago was so good that even though he's not as good, because the system is still the system. I thought then, I think now, if I die next week, I'll die thinking this. Tom Brady's a system quarterback. You put him in the Chiefs, he's not as good. You put him in the Cowboys, he's not as good. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady have a great combination.
I don't think you
that
put anybody
wins.
with the Cowboys there any good.
I think you put anybody with the Patriots and they're winning.
William is my
We've seen
friend.
it.
I have the utmost respect for William.
He's about
and he
to
knows
disagree.
this. I could not disagree more when it comes to Tom Brady.
I just think he hates the Patriots, but
I hate the Patriots.
I just think you do.
I hate the Eagles, the Redskins, and the Giants.
By the way, first
That's
things
all I
first,
hate.
there's nobody wants to see the Patriots go 0-16 more than this guy. As a Steelers fan, there's nobody wants to see him go in the tank more than me. But the fact is, every year they're here.
Right, and they were here last year and they lost. That is also a fact.
And the year
was a
before,
great game.
They were there when the Giants beat them, and they were there when the Giants beat them again. I'm not saying
They haven't been
don't
blown
show
out.
Up. Who said blown out? It ain't about Super Bowl champion. It's not Super Bowl champions plus 17 points. You either win or you lose. If you win every game for the next 10 years by 1 point, you will have a dynasty. You'll win 10 straight Super Bowls. It's not about how many you win by. Only people care about that are gamblers that bet in the spread. That's all they care about.
Well,
And those of
I
us
know
who
a few
don't
guys
gamble
like that.
I only care about who wins. I don't do fantasy
and
football.
the Patriots are going for number 6. And
They're going for them. And you know what? They were going for number 6 last year,
who has
too.
6? Is it like the 49ers, Steelers, or who are the Cowboys? Those are the teams that have a lot of the Super Bowl.
Steelers have the most.
Steelers have 6. Cowboys got 5. I think
San Fran's got a whole
San
bunch.
Fran has 5,
They've got 5.
and the Patriots.
And the Patriots. That's it.
I mean, you're arguing. You're going into the greatest team organization in the history of the NFL. If you're talking about because the Steelers have with 6
Based on what?
Super Bowl trophies.
What team are you talking about? The Steelers or are you talking about
I'm saying the Steelers are there now. They're the benchmark with 6. The Patriots get there, they're right there. And Tom Brady with 6 rings, that would put him. He is the greatest of all times, and that would make him because Joe Montana only had 3 only. Steve Young won.
Here's the problem
Tom
I
Brady,
have.
it
Joe
will be
had
the
4.
man. With Tom Brady 5 Super Bowls as the starting quarterback, he's obviously the greatest quarterback
Here's the
of all
problem I
time.
always have with those kind of things. I always struggle saying who's better of team sports based on rings. I think that's a stupid argument, and everyone makes it. It's a universal
How about
argument.
one-loss record?
Okay, but again, here's the thing. I don't know if you guys just got off y'all knees from Tom Brady's table or whatever it is. I am not dogging Tom Brady. What I'm saying is he is a human being. Who do you know would pick Dan Marino over Trent Dilfer? Would take Dan Marino or wouldn't take Dan Marino over Terry Bradshaw? Terry got 4 rings. Dan Marino got none. Who is a better quarterback?
Well,
So it's not always about
Bradshaw.
rings. Or better, here's better yet.
Terry Bradshaw.
Here's better yet. No,
Doug Williams. Terry Bradshaw.
If you put Dan Marino on the Steelers, he's got 4 rings. Dan Marino is a better quarterback. Period. Hands down, better quarterback. Just went on a better team. Scott Williams, Chicago Bulls, got 3 rings.
Bill Wennington.
Who would pick
Cartwright.
Scott Williams over Charles Barkley or Karl Malone or Sean Kemp for that matter?
Well,
No one you know.
Wait, but that's not a fair comparison.
No, it's
What I'm
absolutely
saying
fair.
is-
You're comparing Scott Williams and Barkley with Bradshaw and Marino?
No, I'm comparing rings and no rings. My whole argument is
now let's take out the rings, Will. Dan Marino had a very good, impressive one-loss record as a starting quarterback.
I think Dan Marino is one of the best
I would
quarterbacks.
take Dan
ever
Charles
played.
Barkley had a good
I would
one-loss
take
record
Dan
on teams
Marino,
he played
too.
with. But look at Tom Brady as a starting quarterback. His one-loss record is almost as good as his record in terms of having rings.
I think you put Dan Marino on. I just think the Patriots have a great system. I think they have a great system. They've shown over years they have a great system, which means every time Tom Brady has gotten hurt.
But Matt
still
Castle,
admit-
they
It's
didn't
never
win the Super Bowl with
happened.
Matt Castle
happened
playing
one year.
quarterback.
But you know what? They didn't. But you know what? They didn't win the Super Bowl last year either. I'm getting about sick of hearing this. They didn't win the Super Bowl. The Patriots are not undefeated in the Super Bowl, fellas.
No,
They are not.
They just have a winning record.
They have a winning record in Super Bowls. So do the Cowboys.
And they've
So
been
do
there
the
more than
That's
49ers.
shocking right there.
So do the 49ers. Right? The Patriots
So
are
the
a great
Redskins. So the Redskins, by the way.
The Patriots are a great organization.
That's right.
They are.
They are a great
And
organization.
I think here's what I think. The Patriots can do. The Patriots, if Bill Belichick stays and Tom Brady leaves, the Patriots are still great. If Tom Brady stays and Bill Belichick leaves and a new coach comes in, you do not see this dominance. That is my belief. Now I could be
Do you
wrong.
think that if? By the way, I don't
necessarily think you're wrong.
How much stress is Bill Belichick under? I don't think he has any. I think he's the same guy every day.
Why would he be under stress? Bill Belichick, he's going to a Hall of Fame. If someone, what are you going to do? Fire him? Name a team that wouldn't take him.
Yeah, he likes being in full control. He likes fishing with Jimmy Johnson in the offseason. So,
Again, but if the Patriots, if he's under pressure, the only person that put him under pressure, would be Robert Kraft or Bob Kraft. Now, if Bob Kraft fired Bill Belichick and he said, "I want to go coach the Panthers," you think Ron's not out of a job?
he's gone.
He's gone.
And by the way, and if Belichick wants it, I'm
he's not under pressure.
I'm calling health professionals to have him
And I
institutionalized.
love Ron Rivera.
All right.
Bill Belichick's not under any pressure
All right.
ever.
No pressure there, but we're going to come back. We got more Super Bowl.
Mom's watching. Hey, Mom.
All right, and William Wilson's mom's watching.
Love you.
So, and he loves you. We all do. We're here at the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill. This is Talking About Sports.
And all that stuff goes into
What do you
the
mean?
record.
On Brady?
Yeah.
Oh,
You can't touch Brady, or else.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
let's
stop.
face it. They made a rule just because he got his ACL torn.
Stop.
We back, KT. All right, we're back. Will's still disgruntled. He's still in the Tom Brady hate club, president of the hate club.
I don't hate. Why does it have to be about hate? Why can't it be the fact I just give Bill Belichick credit?
Well, we love Bill Belichick. A lot of people
Apparently
think
not.
he cheats. A lot of people say he
We
cheats, but I don't know if
haven't
he
talked
cheats.
about him
Apparently
yet.
not. I've been talking about Bill Belichick since I've been here. I keep saying
Somebody
he's a
got
system.
fired.
I keep talking about the
By the way,
system,
where were you
the
when that
system, the system.
TV station in Pittsburgh ran that known cheater graphic? Because the guy got fired. I hope it wasn't you were put that guy up to it.
I got better things to do with my time.
All right.
But I just think Bill Belichick put together a great system, just like Tex Winter put together a great
Right.
that triangle offense.
Right.
That went from the Bulls to the Lakers and won championships.
So Michael Jordan wasn't that great?
I think Scottie Pippen made Michael Jordan better than he is. That's what I
You
think.
like Scottie Pippen because he's from Arkansas.
No, I just think no. The thing is, I'm not a jersey sniffer. I don't look. They go, oh, he won this many games, so he automatically better. No, I look at the overall.
Jordan's smarter than the guy.
I'm a businessman, so I look at all the factors that go involved.
Jordan's a good businessman.
We were talking through the break. I'm just going to ignore that craziness. We were talking through the break. Let's take Dan Marino. What Dan Marino had to play through, where guys bump down the field all the way down the field. When there's 5 yards, you got to let him go.
He had Don Shula as his head coach, the all-time winningest coach in the history of pro football, and he still couldn't win a Super Bowl. Dan Marino.
Okay.
Just saying.
What does that have to do with my point?
I don't know. You hadn't made it yet because I keep interrupting you.
Right. You just keep coming with this. I know you have a bunch of knowledge in your mind that you think people care about, and sometimes we do. But there's a little thing called context.
Not
A little thing called context, my brother. But what I'm saying is, Tom Brady is a great quarterback. He will go down. This will be one of those arguments that will go down forever. Who's the best quarterback? This, that, the other. But can you imagine what Dan Marino would have done playing under the same rules? We were talking about earlier. If you tackle Tom Brady, odds are 9 times out of 10
the Johnny Unitas rules, Roman Gabriel rules. And one day they could hit you 5 steps and run you out of bounds, and you only get a warning. You couldn't play in the old days. Some of these guys couldn't play in the old days. Ask Terrell Suggs. He said, you get near Tom Brady, you get 15 just for even looking at him wrong.
So when you get that kind of thing, and then you put on top of it the Peyton Manning rule, it makes being a quarterback a whole lot. Let me tell you the overwhelming sentiment yesterday. Listen to those players last night. The more digs you heard from these guys, and some of them won Patriots. Matter of fact, Larry Sanders was there. Me and Larry Sanders was hanging out.
I remember Larry Sanders.
And he said, all of them kept saying, no, this is what we played football when it was football. We played football when quarterbacks were actually real men. We played Now, these weren't all Larry stuff. These are just stuff they said all throughout the night. We played quarterbacks where you could hit a quarterback because you wasn't playing a girl with a penis. That's one of the statements that was made.
Wow.
They said, when you hit a quarterback, they said, we respected our quarterback. And Steve Bartkowski was there.
Okay.
Said,
when you Falcon great.
Yeah, when you hit a quarterback, you hit a man and he stood back up. He said, now, Steve Bartkowski said, who knows what I could have done playing under these rules.
Roger Staubach got hit a lot.
A lot of
Navy guys played tough.
A lot of these guys.
Listen, I don't disagree. Your point, and I think I get it here, and it's absolutely valid. It's hard to compare the greatest or whatever because of it's certainly in football because of the rules changes that have been designed over the years for different reasons. Mm-hmm. I get that. I don't disagree with that. What my point was this. I mean, first of all, Tom Brady's been doing it for 20-some years now, almost 20 years. So
him and Bill.
He's gone through a lot of those changes together, a lot of these rule changes. And I mean, just for me, I think in my opinion, I think he's the best. But if somebody wants to tell me Dan Marino is the best, or Brett Favre, or John Elway, somebody like, or Joe Montana,
Jim Kelly,
I'm not going to sit here and say you're crazy. I just think Brady's the best in my time that I've seen, and I've seen all those other guys that I mentioned.
If I've got to build a football team, and you give me Tom Brady or Drew Brees, I take Drew Brees. And here's why I take Drew Brees. And again,
he played in the
Drew Brees works out with the military. I know you like that.
Huh?
Drew Brees does a lot of work with the military. I know you like that.
This guy, that's not a lot of guys. A lot of guys in the league do stuff with the military. They just don't get credit for it. They're not quarterbacks. But here's why I say that. I've seen Drew Brees in 2 different teams under different coaches perform. I've seen him show up and make teams better. I've seen him undervalued and prove his value. I've seen Tom Brady excel under the same coach. Just like I've seen Jimmy Johnson win championships under the same crew chief.
I'm glad you brought that up.
I've seen that sometimes the dynasty, sometimes the team gets called the dynasty because the dynasty of the coach and quarterback.
Who gets credit for the 48, the Lowe's 48? Jimmy Johnson is the driver. Oh, he's the greatest driver of all times. But people do remember there's a good crew chief named Chad Canal.
Jimmy and Chad.
All right, and there's
Jeff
front
Gordon,
rear tire changers. There's a jack man. There's a gas man. There's a lot of people in the fab shop. By the way, the most important testing from what Chip Ganassi Racing with Felix Sabatis, Kurt Busch is testing it. Your friend, Kurt Busch.
My guy.
Testing out in Vegas today and tomorrow. They say it's the biggest test in the history of NASCAR with the new package, tires, and everything going in. By the way, we're a couple weeks from the Super Bowl of stock car racing, the Daytona 500, William Wilson.
Yes, we are. That we are. But I don't want Kevin to be mad at me.
I'm just letting you know, since you brought in Jimmy Johnson, who a lot of people consider the greatest driver. I don't. I still think Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Richard Petty are the 2 greatest. That's just my opinion.
Well, and again, different eras, different.
Right.
Like I said,
I'm older than you guys. Barely.
You ain't lying.
Barely. But I remember Johnny Unitas. I remember, guys of his age. Johnny Unitas was considered, when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame, was inducted as the greatest quarterback of all times. On the cover of Sports Illustrated, the greatest. Just simply 2 words, the greatest.
If somebody told me, if you want to say Johnny Unitas is the greatest of all time, I would not tell you're crazy by any stretch.
There you go.
Like I said, that's my only thing. That's why
put football on the map.
That's why I say I struggle with, especially with like Tiger. You can say Tiger and Jack are the 2 greatest because they played on their own.
Arnold Palmer,
Venus and Serena, or
Serena.
Yeah, or Serena.
Roger
Federer, yeah, McEnroe in his day.
Wait, could I say for Tiger, the equipment he played with is a whole lot more improved than when Jack played? Doesn't that make a difference too?
Or
just
the
like the rule changes in football, the equipment changes in golf.
It could, but here's where I would say the difference. Because I golf.
Same in tennis as well.
I watched John Daly take his driver. He gave a clinic in Greensboro. I watched him take his driver, and he hit it 315 yards. I saw him take a persimmon driver and hit it 308. The equipment is great, but at the end of the day, you got to putt. And if they putting and positioning and not necessarily, because Tiger played pretty much with the same putter his entire career. He'd go to a putter and then come back to his old one.
I'm comparing. If I'm just for BS sake, if you're comparing Jack and Tiger, my point was the equipment that Tiger has is better than when Jack played. Yeah. It's improved, and that's how everything works.
Yeah, the ball and stuff
and the ball,
better.
Yeah,
the ball is better, but the course is also longer too. So the offset of that, Jack would play on a course that was 6,800 yards. Tiger plays on one that's 7,400 yards.
What about the width? What about the width? Are they narrower now, or?
Well, it all depends on what course you go to. So of course they play on.
Your friends with John Daly.
You go to Augusta. I mean, you can at Augusta National, you can stand at one point and you're on 4 different golf holes.
Yes.
At one time. That's how spread open Augusta is.
So I could get on the driver and hit it, and no matter where it goes, because I don't know where it's going, it'll be a great shot.
The azaleas themselves, you can hit it again.
You're friends with JD. Can you give me a driver?
I can't get you a swing. I wouldn't disrespect John Daly's driver like that. But then you go someplace like Harbor Town where the trees are grown over the fairways or something. You got to hit it low and streaming. So it really all depends on where you're playing. At the end of the day, Lee Trevino said, I'm not afraid of a man who get a golf ball 300 yards. I'm afraid of a man who drive 300 yards. I'm afraid of a man who get a 6-iron 100 yards.
Sure.
Because that guy's a shot maker.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. One of the great all-time. Wahoo McDaniel, good friends with Lee Trevino, said that guy, Lee Trevino, had ice water in the veins. He could play, gamble, and do anything because he knew he didn't even have money in his pocket, he would still gamble because he knew he'd win.
Because they had to. Those guys are playing for their mortgages. These guys are playing for payment.
It's like Dale Earnhardt riding on borrowing money on Friday for tires and winning on Sunday to pay off debts.
Yeah, that's how it is. The sport has just changed. And we talked a lot. Me and Too Tall Jones were hanging out.
I met him. I played in one golf tournament with him. Great guy, even though he played for the Cowboys.
Yeah, we were hanging out pretty much all day. I love Ed.
Great guy.
And we just talked about the difference in now. And he gives a story of his rookie year, number 1 overall draft, all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And they'd had a AC unit went out, something went out. And the guys were just talking. They were talking about what they were getting paid. And he said he was so glad Tom Landry came in and stopped the meeting to talk about what they had to talk about, because he was embarrassed. He was going to say how much he was getting paid as a rookie, because he was getting paid more than all those guys as a rookie.
That's the old potential. Guys coming in got more until the collective bargaining agreement recently. Yeah. But just to follow up on both you guys' points, another thing is we talked about the equipment improving over the years. Helmet safety and things of that nature. How about the medical science? Whereas, we talked about Cam getting an arthroscopic shoulder surgery. Maybe in the 60s or something, like Roman Gabriel get a shoulder or a knee operation. You're out for the year.
Absolutely.
Whereas now it's 2 or 3 weeks due to the advancement of medical science. Whereas Tom Brady and maybe some of the Patriot guys or even the Ram guys nowadays, you're out 2-3 weeks where the IRR, you can come back, the designation, you can come back.
Yeah, well, remember when Tommy John surgery, I mean, you were done for the year automatically?
Yes. Now you can come back better.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's all factored into everything, and I totally get your point about the eras, and you can't. It's certainly in football it's hard because the sport has changed so much and evolved. So I get that.
Yeah, Tom Landry once said he was on record saying years and years ago, he said these guys are going to keep getting bigger and they're going to keep getting faster, keep getting stronger. He said it will be impossible to keep them safe. And it's true. You look at these guys, they're so big now, it's impossible to keep them safe because they're playing at weights they weren't meant to be at. You look at Mike Rucker. Mike Rucker looks like a small forward.
Mike Rucker,
but he played at 290. He's 240 something now. Jordan Gross.
He's not even 200 pounds now.
Jordan Gross looked like he started smoking crack. Like he retired and smoked crack. He didn't, but it looked like he did. He lost so much weight in one off season.
He lost 40 pounds in like a month. I remember seeing him, hearing him on the radio. They didn't recognize him.
Yeah, and people are like, man, what's wrong with these guys? But there's not anything wrong with these guys. These guys have to eat so much just to try to maintain it. Yeah. They struggle to keep that much weight on because the defensive linemen have gotten so much.
But then people can't complain about, the rules are set up so there's no concussions or, these guys can't. The rules are so, these guys aren't real NFL players or anything. It's not because all the rules. Well, they got to design these rules. Otherwise, you're right. It's not just injuries you're worried about. you got people at 300 pounds coming in full. This isn't going to be safe if you play it under the old rules.
Yeah, but if you also you look at those guys back then, and somebody brought up a point to me last year. You had less injuries when guys played with the leather helmets because you wouldn't leave with your head with a leather helmet. Some of these guys now, they walk in, they're RoboCop. They got so much padding on.
Lamar Lathan.
Yeah, they got flak jackets and ripped all it. They feel invincible because they can almost get hit by a truck.
They used to call Lamar Lathan RoboCop when he played for the Panthers. Your guy.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
So I had a guy. I was talking with a guy last night. He said, "Man," he said, "You NASCAR boys don't know about it." He said, "We go out there, we play for keeps. It's like we get hit by a car every day." I said, "No, it's not. I've been hit by a car."
I was about to say I've been hit by a car, but I'm not NASCAR.
I've been hit on the track 3 times. I said, "Well, you are fully padded, being hit by another man fully padded at running speed." I said, I was unprotected, holding a 35-pound metal jack, and got hit by a 3,250-pound car going 35 miles an hour. I know what it's like to get hit by a car. You know what it's like to get hit by a fat guy. He may be strong.
Did you get hit at South Boston? Was that the place you got hit?
That's my first place I got hit.
Trying to get a fried bologna sandwich, but you were on the track, though.
But the eras have changed. The NASCAR eras have changed. NASCAR racing was more fun to watch 20 years ago than it is now. The NFL...
I can't disagree.
The NFL is different to watch now. I can't say it's better or worse to watch. It's just different.
Sounds like everybody you talk to said it's worse.
No, they're not saying about watching. They're talking about the game itself.
Right.
They're talking about... you talk to a lot of defensive guys where the guys talking about... they're like, you can hit. You can hit guys.
Well, you can't hit the quarterback. Ask Tom Brady.
Yeah, you can't hit that. Now you got the defensive player rule. There's a lot of stuff that you can't do. But then again, those guys.
What about
when those guys did? But they didn't. Like Jack Tatum would light you up.
Oh,
but Jack Tatum didn't.
They called me
you.
assassin.
Jack Tatum wouldn't put you out of a game. Jack Tatum knew how to hit you.
Ronnie Lott
really hard.
Paralyzed the guy.
Mike Curtis.
But that's one of those freak things. But you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Jack Lambert.
And these guys weren't. You didn't have nearly. I don't think you had as many of the concussions and stuff as you did then because guys they did more.
But they called stuff then. They didn't call that then. But nowadays they're going to make that call. What about calls? We saw that call in the Rams Saints game. You think there's going to be an emphasis on the calls? You think Goodell's going to talk to the officials before give them a pep talk before the game? Look, guys, don't suck this today. You're making me look bad at the press conference.
I've gone back and forth with that call, and if there's ever a time to make a argument for replay of calls, that would be a good catalyst for it. That'd be a good, exhibit A. I don't think I want to go that way because the game's already too long.
It'll never happen. The game's too long.
And never say never, but I just think I don't. It's unfortunate. I think it was. That may have been the most obvious pass interference call I've ever seen in my life.
It was the worst no call in the history of the league.
I agree, but not just because
given the circumstances.
But to me, I even take the circumstances out. But I get what you're saying. That's very valid because you literally these guys spent their whole season having a great season, got it taken away from them.
It literally cost them the game.
It absolutely cost the game. Cost the Super Bowl. Cost guys millions of dollars in bonuses. It cost them a lot.
Cost Drew Brees another shot at the ring.
Exactly. But even if there's been the second game of the season, wrong is wrong.
Oh yeah.
That was just such a blatant. When you hit a guy, and you got him off balance, and the football is still behind you, that can't be anything but pass interference.
Well, it's bad enough it had to be a bad enough foul. The guy got fined.
There's 2 fouls. Yeah. By rule, the ball's in the air. And there's contact. Well. If the ball is if not in the air, it's illegal contact. In the air, that's an automatic pass interference. Not to mention if that's not called, there was a helmet-to-helmet contact.
Which got him fined.
Mm-hmm. And there was another one, too. There was 3 calls that could have been made on that one.
Mike just made a good point. He did get the defender got fined for something he didn't get penalized for in the game.
Well, that happens all the time.
NFL does that kind of thing a lot.
That happens all the time.
Jones got fined whenever he get
for making it rain,
but he didn't get charged.
That's Will's point too. There are calls that are missed in the regular season, and you find out on Monday or Tuesday the guy got fined for it, that he didn't get penalized. That happens all the time once you review everything. And you knew when you watched the game, you knew it was going to happen that way. It was helmet to helmet. Eventually, he was going to get fined. I just think, because of the circumstances, because of the situation, the the game itself, the fact that the Saints literally cost the Saints a chance at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That being said, I really wish it would just. I understand the Saints and the fans and they're upset and the lawsuit and all this stuff.
Yeah, the lawsuit was crazy.
It's crazy. It's annoying that they're doing it. I don't mind. I think everybody needs to get over it. Who cares?
Nobody cares about sour grapes. People who lose ought to just shut up and deal with it.
No, that's where I disagree with you. They do need to get over it at some point. But I can't say who cares. A lot of people care.
Oh, yeah. That's true. People do care.
But
the majority of the people don't. They just want you to move on and quit crying about
it. No.
That's not my point.
Because the most common conversation I heard yesterday, and I didn't see I don't think I saw a single Saints fan all day yesterday. The big talk, the only thing I heard people talk about collectively was that call. When they started talking football, it was that play.
My point wasn't that they need to get over it. I don't mind if the Saints and their fans or anybody wants to file a lawsuit. My problem is Carolina fans up in arms because they're doing such a thing. What do you care what they do? It's like UCF claims they're the national champs in football. Who cares? Let them do it. It doesn't mean anything.
But I can applaud Panthers fan or any other fan, any other team, because sometimes, and I think the problem we have in society, if it doesn't affect us, who cares? And that's the problem. We have a problem with that. And I know that's not how you are. Right. I'm not saying that, but we've taken on this edict that if it doesn't affect my house, my family, or my team, I don't care. Next year that could be our team. I applaud the fact that Panther fans are upset about this, because at some point it's about what's right and what's wrong. And they sat and watched this, and being someone who has lost a championship, being someone who's lost races because NASCAR made calls and then found out later on that it was a bad call, it just cost us races. We practice every week. We pour our hearts out in every pit stop. The drivers, everybody's doing their job.
When did the flag get dropped?
To have that taken away when you busted your tail, and everybody's like, well, just bounce back, because a big conversation I heard a lot of non-athletes saying last night was, well, you got to just get yourself back and get your head back in the game. Until you've been there and just had, it's not even a pain you can describe. It's like someone just looked you in the eye, put their hand through your chest, and rip your soul right out.
When does NASCAR call the caution and freeze the field? And you could be in front or back or whatever, and that could let a guy not get on the lead lap or anything. There's a lot of things.
Yeah, it cost Kurt Busch a race last year.
That's what I was going to, because
they could have very well kept him out of the playoff. Fortunately, he had a good enough season where the points kept him in. But let's say he hadn't. He should have automatically been in the playoffs, and then they could say, you know what, we're going to take the rest of this season to do testing. So they changed their whole season, that one call.
The problem with the call, like we said, there are bad calls all the time in every sport and everything.
Mm-hmm.
This was right in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody saw it. Everybody knew it should have been a flag, and except for 6 people there that had the official. And it was a play that literally cost the Saints a shot at the Super Bowl. I don't care if they kicked the field goal. They were going to run it down, kick the field goal, win the game. And they'd be playing and it's Breeze against Brady and all the hype. You couldn't believe it.
And how awesome would that have been? Breeze against Brady, man. Two iron horses. That would have been a great.
Absolutely. The hype would have been tremendous.
But you have the young offensive innovator and Sean McVay and arguably one of the best defenses. And then you got Jared Goff with his offense, Todd Gurley, C.J. Anderson, the guy that Carolina couldn't figure out how to get into their running game.
He bailed him out.
Tearing it up for the Rams, and he's does nothing but get first downs and yardage for the Rams.
He bailed him out.
That's your boy Norvell Turner coming through for Carolina there, Will.
To quote my guy Mike Freer, who cares about Jared Goff? No one cares about Jared Goff except Rams fans and his family.
Well, you're going to care if he wins on Sunday.
Oh, they're going to care.
Could they beat your guy, Tom Brady?
He's not. I could care less. I can't remember until the beginning of the game. This is how little I pay attention to this kind of stuff.
We're so happy to have you on the show.
I just do. But remember, I'm not here as a sports guy. I'm here as the regular fan. I'm just here as a fan. So that's why my perspective is so different on a lot of this.
I know.
But I forgot who the Eagles beat last year. The other day somebody said, who did the Eagles beat for the Super Bowl? I was like, who did they beat? I had to look it up. That's how I got a company to run.
They beat your guy.
I got a life to live. My life isn't built around sports. You guys' lives are built around sports. You guys are sports guys. So it makes perfect sense for you guys. I got to remember orders and fabrics and clients and schedules. I have a different set of things to do when I get off.
Got a golf tournament to run.
Yeah. So I got a different set of things to do when I leave off here. So my hat's off to you guys. The stuff
you got that bowling deal finalized?
Yep. Right. I give you a hard time, but I stand in awe of the amount of superficial information, sports information that you can remember. I can just make up a name. I go, Juju Butterbean. Oh, he went to
Butterbean was a fighter. Butterbean was a fighter.
Went to high school at this school. His first girlfriend was a little bow-legged Ethiopian with epilepsy. The stuff you know about people. And I'm like, how does he even remember this completely?
Mike, didn't Butterbean fight Tommy Morrison for the heavyweight title?
I'm trying to give you some props.
I'm just saying.
And you won't
brought
shut
up a name. I'm proving your point.
No, now you get on my nerves. You know what I'm saying?
I do that a lot.
Take the win. I'm trying to give you a win. Because I stand in awe of both of you guys maintain sports knowledge. I don't understand how you do it. But this guy's like a savant of the information he just remembers. And I'm like, how do you?
None of it's important in life, though.
Well, that's true. Well, you're a sports guy, so it could be important. Or you may go to a beer place where they do trivia, and it may be.
By the way, South Palantonio, he's a Navy guy, isn't he? Yeah, he is. He's what? All right.
Is he?
Yeah, he's a Navy guy.
Oh.
All right, just letting you know, he's a military guy. And not only military, he's Navy. So there you go.
Didn't know
All right,
that.
we got more Super Bowl discussion to go. We're here at the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill. This is Talking About Sports.
You kept Vaseline on. You stayed moist.
That's right.
All right, we're back with more Talking About Sports. We're here at the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill with William Wilson and Mountaineer Mike Freer.
I wonder what food they're going to bring out for us today.
You have friends in higher places than me.
It's cold out.
You we're talking about the Navy, South Palantonio Navy guy, and you were talking, where's the coldest place you served? The Arctic Circle?
Yep, Operation Deep Freeze in Arctic Circle.
It was pretty cold up there. It's pretty cold in Chicago. There's some Navy installations there.
Yeah, I went to boot camp. I went to boot camp and basic electronics school in Great Lakes.
Yeah, when they start comparing temperatures worse than Antarctica, you're in a cold spot.
Yeah. This
South Palantonio was a Navy lieutenant.
Oh, cool.
There you go. United Nations Meritorious Service Medal, whatever that is. You know what that is? Mm-hmm. You get any medals?
I've got one.
What was your rank, by the way? You Admiral? Commodore?
I wish.
What were you?
No, I would have loved to be an admiral. Well, I had to stay in too long to be an admiral, but it'd been kind of cool.
What was your rank? You were on the sub. You were on the USS Scranton, right?
Yep, I was submarine. Then I went to do other things after that. I can't talk about it on air.
Okay.
But yeah.
We just want to know your rank. You were like a boatswain. I've heard of that.
A boatswain's not a rank. That's a rate.
Oh, well, I don't know. Well, what is your rank? You're like a lieutenant commander or something like that.
I was a lieutenant.
All right.
But I was enlisted first.
All right, and then you jumped over.
Yeah, I was what they call a Mustang.
Mustang.
You go from enlisted to officer. They call it.
Okay, I didn't know that. I mean, we're glad to know. Thank you for your service. And you were in the North Carolina Military Veterans Hall of Fame charter class.
Yep, so, the inaugural class. Yep,
inaugural
got
class.
my ring last week.
I did read about that. It's big, like your championship.
It's not as big as this one. It's big as one of my other ones.
All right, but it had a lot different significance for different reasons.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm proud of this. Much more proud of that.
All right. So what about in the old days? Will a guy like Roger Staubach, who won a couple Super Bowls for your Dallas Cowboys, he was in the Navy.
Yes,
he served. He didn't do one of these. So I'm just going to go to the reserves after the fact. I'm going to keep playing.
Yeah, Rocky Blyer was in the Army.
Napoleon McCallum. He got a waiver.
Navy running back.
Navy running back. Played for the United States Naval Academy. Eddie Myers did not get a waiver. Could not leave the Navy. He had to go his full 6 years, but went to training camp every year with the Atlanta Falcons. Napoleon McCallum did get an exemption where he did full-time service in the off-season and did reserves otherwise.
Ted Williams.
Ted Williams went to war twice.
Yeah, went to war, yeah.
World War II and Korea.
See, we had this conversation. It's funny you bring this up. Me and Larry Sanders had this conversation last night.
Love Larry Sanders.
And I do, too. Great. I met him yesterday for the first time.
Great guy.
Love the guy. But he's,
former Redskin.
Anyway, here we go with this again.
I'm just saying, he's great.
We had this conversation, and I said, here's what I hate. When athletes start talking about they're going to battle, and they're going to war, and they're warriors. And I said to him, no, you're not. You are not going to war. You are not going to battle. You're going to compete. True. That's what you're going to do. You are not warriors. Warrior A warrior isn't somebody who your coach makes you look bad on camera and now you pout for a week. That's not warriors. That's not. You ain't built for that. I'm not one of these.
There was a guy, Alejandro. What was his name? Mike. The guy plays for the Steelers, the left tackle.
Villanueva
Served in Afghanistan.
Yeah,
he is a warrior.
Yeah, but he is.
That's what I'm saying. But they're few and far between.
Right, but he is. But he ain't a warrior because he played football. He's a fierce competitor. He was a warrior when he was in the Army.
It's an overused cliche to be sure.
And it's a bad one when you really and it's one and it works great for people who have never actually seen combat. It's disrespectful for people who have seen combat because they say, man, we have a bad day. We let our brothers down. It's a bad day. No, if we had a bad day, I told him, I said, no, if you had a bad day, you lost the game. If you had a really bad day, you became unemployed. I said, we had a bad day, we died.
Or other people, you're
exactly. So this, huh? I saw it.
But
yeah. So this whole warrior, I hate that mindset of warrior. Be a fierce competitor, all that stuff. Just don't compare the two, because unless you've been in that area, and I've been in both, as a professional athlete and this, I know the difference, and there is a stark difference between the two.
Now I'm in a couple of these Baltimore Colt groups. Gino Marchetti was in the Battle of the Bulge before playing professional football and later professional wrestling. Art Donovan, Baltimore Colt legend, used to go on the Tonight Show, and David Letterman, was in the Marine in Iwo Jima. I mean, you're talking about guys who were fighting for their lives. Mm-hmm. But Battle of the Bulge, Iwo Jima, fighting to live to the end of the day, for an hour maybe.
And didn't make much more money playing football than they did in the military.
Yeah, what's going on in your text?
But I will say this, I wonder if C.J. Anderson are rubbing in the Panthers' face if he wins that Super Bowl.
I think he is.
Why
apparently,
wouldn't you?
Well, just say, hey, Norvell Turner, why don't you give me the ball? Because I'm with the Rams, and I guess the game of football has blown by you because, I'm running the ball and scoring touchdowns for the Rams and winning the Super Bowl, and where are you, Norvell?
But, the Panthers have a history of letting guys go to go win Super Bowls. Brandon LaFell did it. Ken Walter did it.
Well, Ken Walter was a contributor. Brandon LaFell was just a guy along for the ride.
No, he obviously did something Bill Belichick saw because he stayed on the roster and he got a ring.
Yep.
Bill Belichick don't just keep guys along for the ride.
I'll put it this way: C.J. Anderson is a big reason why they're in the Super Bowl. He bailed them out when Gurley wasn't effective or whatever. But I'll tell you, if the Rams are going to win, I think Todd Gurley's going to have a monster game, and he's going to have a monster game. And he is fresh, and I also think it's what you're going to see Bill Belichick try to stop the most. I think he's going to allow Jared Goff to throw the ball around the field. I think he wants to stop Todd Gurley and the running game and make him one-dimensional. Because the Rams, when they're at their best, Gurley out of the backfield, all those wide receivers they have, Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, it's really hard to defend.
I think, like you're pointing out, Mike, accurately, the Rams have won when they've run to set up the pass. When they've won, run, and then all of a sudden you bring up the safety.
You got maybe the best running back in the league. I mean,
highest paid, I think.
If somebody tells me he's the best, I'm not telling you wrong. He's definitely.
Le'Veon Bell coming back next year? Just wondering.
He's not coming back to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he won't be at Pittsburgh. He'll definitely be back.
He'll be back.
There's too many teams that need a good running back, and he's definitely a good running back.
You mentioned the pressure not being on Belichick, and I got your point there too. But the challenge for Belichick in this matchup is really, I'm sure, is what's motivating him as much as all the other Super Bowls. It's what can I do to stop? This is the high-scoring team. This is a high-octane offense. What am I going to do to disrupt them? What am I going to do? Because he is legendary for doing that. As a defensive coordinator against the Bills, he stopped the passing game. He put the pressure on the passing game and let Thurman Thomas have his yards. We're going to stop everything else. He is, this is where he makes his adds to his resume or makes his money.
He was the defensive coordinator for Bill Parcells with the Giants. He made his name being a defensive coach.
You know what this sounds like? Remember when the Giants played the Patriots the first time, and the Patriots were averaging 42 points a game in warm weather areas. How's Tom Coughlin going to be able to stop? It sounds like Bill Belichick. It sounds like Tom Coughlin going against him.
And they decided things. They knew that in that day. And everybody knows it's the same thing. I got to get to Brady and put pressure on him. and they did. They didn't sack him a lot. And last year, the Eagles put pressure on Brady, didn't sack him a lot, and maybe they sacked him once.
But put a lot of pressure.
They put pressure on him, and if you can do that, great. I think the genius of Brady and the offense and those guys, McDaniels and all those guys, is okay. You're going to try and put pressure on it. I'm just going to dump the ball off real quick, and I'll do it all game. I don't care.
Yeah, but but it obviously didn't work last year. But I think the defense this year, I think the Rams' defense is better than the Eagles' defense. So I think the Patriots are going to have their hands a lot more full than they are these guys, and these guys have no pressure. But I think it's all going to come down to, will the moment be too big for Jared Goff?
I agree. That's why
he's never been here before.
Exactly. But Troy Aikman's first time
worked out pretty good.
Worked out pretty well for him.
Worked out good for Doug Williams.
Yeah, because sometimes when you have no pressure on you, when you literally can't lose. If they get blown out, hey, he's his second year?
Goff? No, he's been around. It's like he played a year with Jeff Fisher, and this is his second. Is this his second year with McVay?
How long has Goff been in the league?
Yeah, this is McVay.
Third year.
Okay.
How many years has McVay's been?
This is year 2 with McVay.
So this is his third year in the league.
Yeah, so his third year in the league, going against arguably the greatest coach of all time, and arguably the greatest quarterback.
Right. I mean, all the focus is on New England.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, so they can be loosey-goosey and not have all that pressure on them. So there's a lot to be said for that.
I agree.
When Tua at Alabama, last year when he came in the game, he was all everything. He was all world. He was already in the Football Hall of Fame from a half of football because he was the backup guy who came in with no pressure.
Yeah, they were already behind.
Right.
They were already,
Clemson's guys going to have a lot of pressure next year.
This year, he had a whole lot more pressure. And Clemson's guy going to have a lot of pressure.
Yep.
Because that guy, there's a lot. If you go back and watch that game, that kid threw a lot of passes that should have been intercepted that those ball hawk receivers just went and got.
Yeah.
They bailed him out. They pulled a lot of Steve Smiths. I can't remember the kid's name. I call him Fabio. The Clemson's quarterback. What's his name? Kelly Lawrence. What's his name?
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence threw a lot of balls that should have been intercepted. That Alabama easily could have won that game. But those receivers bailed him out a lot. He'll get better. He's a freshman, true freshman, so I get that. So Clemson fans, don't bug the crap out of Kevin, because I don't care if y'all call me or not. But don't go nuts. But
who's the Clemson football fan? Is that your man Kevin Porter?
Kevin Porter, yeah, he's one of those. He's bisportual.
He's what?
He's bisportual.
Is that legal?
Yeah, he pulls for Kentucky basketball and Clemson football. To me, if you're going to pull for a team, you pull for one team.
As William Wilson points out, he's got a gold medal in the $30 dine and dash.
I cannot wait to see that word in Webster's dictionary in the next 5-10 years. That's a great new word.
I just made up.
That's a great
We also made up the gold medal for the $30 dine and dash. There you go, Will.
Oh, here we
go.
We
special request, William Wilson. We got to get Steve over here. Talk about we
got bar food again.
This is
They were giving us really fancy
that looks
stuff.
Like the chicken speedy pizza.
Pasta
oh man, that's some solid stuff.
Thank you very much.
The chili here, let me just tell you, the chili here is really good.
Yeah, I saw you guys eating that. Yes.
Yeah, I went to town on it.
Steve, we got wings here for a reason. What's going on? There's a rumor that there's going to be a big wing. This is a Super Bowl weekend.
If you're going to ask me a question, let her answer the question.
I am. I'm going to get there.
So they tell me that there's a big game going on this weekend. I'm not really sure which one it is, but no, we're running the special, guys. You can do 100 wings for $85, and that's for here or to go, or you could do 50 wings for $45. So you're getting a cut on a deal there. Either way, for the 100 wings, you can do up to 4 sauces, 50 wings. You can do 2 per 25. Today we also got our buffalo chicken pizza here with our New York style speedy meat.
He's from New York.
It's good stuff.
Out near Mike's from New York.
Good stuff. We also have our chicken nachos as well using the speedy meat.
What is speedy meat?
Get you set off for the Super Bowl weekend going on. So this weekend, tomorrow actually, we're running from 5 to 7. NBA is going to come host an arcade challenge here for your chance to win All-Star tickets this weekend. And I'm sure you guys checked out the prices. They're up there. So if you guys want to come check it out, shoot a couple of basketballs around and see what you got. 5 to 7 tomorrow. We'll have $2.75 Budweisers all day long.
That might get me to show up.
Hey,
not the basketball.
Increase your chances of making some shots, but
Well,
you'll have a good time doing it.
anyway.
I know a lot of people coming up here at the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill. It's going to be packed, but you can get the to-go to get anything you need.
Yep. So come on out, come check it out. We'll be obviously showing the game all over the restaurant as well. It's going to be a good time, guys.
All right, thanks.
I say this all the time.
By the way, who you got? Who you like? Who you like in the game?
Man, it's hard to pick against the history says the greatest of all time is going to win it out, but I'm pulling for the Rams. I'm going to bleed yellow and blue this weekend. Go Rams.
You are in the majority, believe me.
All right, everybody's pulling for the Rams.
Dislike the Patriots.
Everybody says their head says the Patriots, but their heart says the Rams.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'd love to root for the Rams. And it may turn out that I do. I just think the Patriots are going to win.
You got a final thought here before we wrap up with less than 2 minutes to go?
Yeah, Will's not going to like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Win or lose on Sunday, I hope fans, and this is a Steeler fan saying it, so it doesn't do me any joy to say this, but the Patriots run over the last 2 decades now, in my opinion, is the greatest run in the history of professional football. When you look at all the way they've dominated and the time they've dominated in a sport that is designed for other teams to be successful year after year, for the Panthers one year to make the Super Bowl, for the Saints to make the Super Bowl, for the Rams, for the Eagles. The Patriots, they don't get there every year, but to get there 9 times in 18 years is an unbelievable thing, and there's never been anything like that in the history of this sport. So I just want to say it's an unbelievable thing. Whether you want to root for them to win, whether you want to root for them to lose, understand this is an era we probably will not see again in the NFL.
Will?
No, I agree with that, and there were some conversations about that last night, so I definitely agree with you on that one. I just want it to be a good game. I don't want it to come down to a controversial call. I just want it to be fun. I hope no one gets hurt. And my thing is, there's all this stuff going on now at the Super Bowl. We hear about all the parties and stuff. There are dozens and dozens of things going on, but these football players are doing charitable stuff that's going on during the Super Bowl. And that's saying that people don't get to talk about it.
For Kevin Tolbert, Mountaineer Mike Freer, William Wilson, I'm Kevin Casey. This has been Talking About Sports from the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill. So long for now.